Hello, everybody, and welcome to this What's New in FORNAV 8.1 webinar. I'm Jan Sillermann, and I have some bright people with me today that will take us through some of the news here. Before starting out, just a few comments on housekeeping. This session will be recorded, and it will be available on our YouTube channel later today or tomorrow morning. If you have questions as we move along, please use the questions tool in GoToMeeting. And if it's related to what we are talking about, we will take them right away. If not, we will take them at the end of this session. And at the end of the session, there will also be an opportunity to ask questions on 8.1 in general. I'm sure many of you are familiar with our roadmap. It started out with reports. We added print, and now we sort of say that we are managing everything that relates to documents in Business Central. And we have sort of divided that into two areas. So on the left side, you have document handling. Of course, our report pack with around 100 standard reports, of course, all customizable. We have our designer tool that I'm sure all of you are very familiar with, where you can modify reports, and you can of course build brand new reports from scratch. We have our file service, where you can access either local or network files. So far that has prevented some customers from going to cloud because for one or the other reason they still wanted, or they still had to have files locally. Now that is solved with file service, where you can combine Business Central in the cloud and still having access to local files. E-invoicing, e-documents, and handled through Pepole is now part of FORNAV. Has been for a couple of versions, but there are some news in this version, and we handle both the incoming part of Pepole documents as well as the distribution of Pepole documents. And talking about document distribution, we of course have our direct print capabilities, where you can set up and print to any printer in your network. We have our email functionality, which with 8.1 is extended to not just cover the email body, but also to cover the email subject and the distribution and the list of recipients of emails. And I would also say the email body with 8.1 has been significantly improved in usability, but we'll come back to that in a second. We have our Excel integration. I already mentioned Pepole, and we also have our archiving. So like I said, everything around documents in Business Central is handled by FORNAV. The list of new stuff in FORNAV is pretty long. Some things smaller, some things rather big. And we have in this webinar decided to focus on 3 areas. But of course, like I said, you are welcome to ask questions about any part of 8.1. But the areas that we will focus on in this presentation is first and foremost the new source control. So it's now possible to keep much better track of what you have done and also what customers have done in FORNAV. René will talk about that in just a second. Following that, we will look at a new feature called personalized content, which basically means that end users can now modify documents. They can add information, campaigns, marketing information, and so on to the documents. Michael will talk much more about that. And then finally, Jennifer will give an update on e-invoicing and Pepole and where we are with that. So with that, I like to hand over to you, René.
Thank you, Jan. I will just find my screen to share. There we go. So talking about source control, I've been thinking about how to explain source control in the easiest possible way And the easiest possible way to explain source control is to say it is more like a time machine. It is something that will help you keep track of what people have done, when they did it, and it will allow you to go back to the state of your full FORNAV setup as it was in a point in the past. And that is something that a lot of customers have been asking us for a long time. What would happen is people would change layouts, would change the FORNAV language or other FORNAV setup, and all of a sudden nobody knew who did what, where it was, what is actually the current state, and what needs to be deployed to production and when. So what we did is we took the source control concept that we know from Git and we moved it into Business Central. So we can save every version of your work. Mistakes aren't permanent anymore. It makes teamwork easy, and you can all work on the same project without overwriting changes. It helps you track changes of who did what and when. So if a consultant 5 years ago did some work on a report and nobody knew what or why, you can actually find that in your source control. And of course, you get full control of your deployment of all custom layouts, language setup, text templates, and anything else FORNAV related from development, test to production. All this PowerPoint is all nice and well, but what does this actually look like in real life? So what we do, what I've done is I've set up a production environment in cloud. And on that production environment, I need to design a layout. I need to review the layout, I need to commit it and pull it into production. And of course, I don't want to make any changes in production because people are working on it. I can't just start changing layouts in a production system because customers will get all sorts of weird stuff in their email boxes. So, first things first, let's go into Business Central. This is a cloud sandbox. I'm pretending this is production. It has FORNAV on it, all fairly basic. I have an order with a red layout. If I preview this, you will see it is a Dutch order. We'll come back to that later. We have some red fields, and we have some changes in the FORNAV language. I've changed the NR dot to number, and I've changed description to beschrijving. And that's pretty much it. What I've done, I've added some logos, some watermarks, and that sort of stuff. We've added in FORNAV 8.1 is a new button called Source Control. And if I open this, you can see that this system, all the way at the bottom, is connected to the source control provider GitHub. And the source control repository is one of my own repositories. It's a basic repository on GitHub. And the base folder is what new. I have a client ID and a client secret that, of course, I need to connect to GitHub. And I have allow push. Normally on a production system, you wouldn't set allow push to true because on a production system, you just want to pull the latest state from whatever source control system you have. But in this case, I needed something to set everything up. So I set allow push to true. This is all initialized and synchronized with source control. Which means that if I go to GitHub, this is my red and bundle cust fornav.test.backup repository. You can see I have some stuff in here. I have a Business Central extension with a FORNAV my list report. Michael has pushed some stuff into here, but I also have my What's New folder, and the What's New folder, go back to source control. That's the folder where FORNAV will push all of the functional changes from the database. If I drill down into that, you can see I have some stuff in here from my production system. I have some language stuff. If I open this, you can see I have the description has been changed to beschrijving. And I have something that looks very weird, NOU plus 002E. The U plus 002E is actually the dot, so it is the number. And if I open that, you will see it's changed the number. And of course, I have my red layout. The layout we store as a JSON file. Normally, if you export a layout from a FORNAV layout from Business Central, you get a docx file. The problem with docx files is they're binary files, and Git does not like binary stuff. So we changed it to JSON. And in this JSON, you can actually see the full setup of your document. Unfortunately, you can't change this JSON manually. So you need to change it in a FORNAV Business Central database with the FORNAV designer, but you can see everything that's in here and everything that's changed. And if you scroll all the way to the bottom, you can see the actual layout is stored as a base64 string. The nice thing is you can see everything that people have done, as we are going to see. So this is what I have. Customers asked me, please change my sales order layout. I'm fed up with red. I want to make it blue. And oh yeah, beschrijving is not really what we need. We need some other text and some other bits and bobs. So what I need is to get this customer set up and put it into a Docker container. I'll open my Docker container. This is just a plain Docker container that I've just spun up a couple of hours ago. Just for this, I've installed FORNAV and I've done nothing else. First thing I need to make sure of is this Docker container needs to have exactly the same companies as my customer system. And that is because, as you can see right here, for instance, in the language, you can see that some of this stuff is company specific. So we copy all of the setup over all of the companies into GitHub. And if you import it, you need to have exactly the same companies. And FORNAV keeps a list of all of the companies in FORNAV in a .json. You can see in this case, I have Cronus NL, which means in my Docker container, I need to have Cronus NL. Here I will go to source control as well. You can see it is not set up in here at the moment. First thing I do is choose my source control provider. You can choose nothing, which is default, and it does absolutely nothing. You can choose local. In that case, all you get is the changes that you've done locally, which you need to stage and commit and tell Business Central what you did and why. We have GitHub, which is at the moment the only remote repository that's operating. In the future, we have plans to add Azure DevOps because a lot of our partners work on Azure DevOps and the Azure Blob Storage. So for now, I will choose GitHub. You can see I get in my changes FORNAV loads all of the base setup in my system, which in this case is a lot of report selections. I can my folder, copy my repository. The repository on GitHub is always github.com, so I don't need that. And then red and bundle, which is the organization / cust fornav.test.backup, which is the actual repository. I'll take that and put it in here. The base folder is what's new. And I need to copy my client ID. Need to copy my client secret. And I set allow push to true. This is enough for me to start connecting to GitHub. The next step is to take all of my initial setup and to commit it in my source control, which means that FORNAV source control now knows that all of this is in the system for a reason, which is the initial commit. And I hit commit. And that means all of the stuff in here goes away. I don't have any changes. I don't have any staged changes, which means I can connect to my remote system. And to do that, I need to choose a source control branch. We log into GitHub. In the background, my browser is connected to GitHub. And fully logged in, which is why I didn't get the authentication window. Normally you would log into GitHub with your own user account. I have 2 branches in this current system. For simplicity's sake, today I will just work on the main branch, but you can use any type of branching that you can possibly want. Once I do that, you can see that FORNAV is going to pull all of the information from the main branch into this database, which is going to take a little while. Now I'm going to wish I'd done this sooner, because now I don't have anything to talk about whilst this all of this stuff is pulling. I don't have much in my system. The thing about the first initial pull from GitHub is that it needs to get everything from the entire repository, or at least the entire folder in the repository. So it takes a while for everything to come through. There we go. So you can see that I have let's close some stuff, give me some space. You can see that we have some stuff coming in. You can see I have some stuff in my file storage, which is blue.png, and you're supposed to be able to compare this stuff. Here's the description and the number that we are going to change. You can see the delta is number, and the origin, there is nothing in this database yet, so the origin is empty. You can also see I have a document watermark, I have some legal conditions and payment notes. All of this stuff is added from remote. Then I have my report selections, they're edited on the remote, and that's because my customer system has been set up so the report selections are using FORNAV. So if I go and find one of these reports and hit compare, you can see that the original, this Docker container is using report ID 406, the standard BC report, and my remote system is using the FORNAV counterpart for that purchase report. Anyway, all of this stuff is fine with me. I can stage all of it. It ends up in the stage changes, and I can commit it into my database. Simply load remote and hit commit, which means if I go to my FORNAV standard reports, you can see that the order now has the red layout that we have seen before. If I run this 005, oh, I can't run it because the report service is not installed on my system. I knew I've forgotten something when I spun up this container. It doesn't matter really very much. Really, all I want to do is change my my layout. I can try to do that, to do all of that in the background. You can see this is the layout that has the changes. All of my fields are red. And if you give me 5 seconds, I will just install the report service in the background. So what our customer says is, please make this stuff blue. Fine with me, you know. Customers always right. If they want blue, they want blue. So we'll make them blue. Let's save this stuff. Now my layout is blue. Something else they wanted me to do is to change the number and the beschrijving fields. Those are actually fields in the FORNAV translations. And we've added a feature in 8.1, which is you know, in the big list of stuff that we built. It didn't really make the cut to talk about in detail, but we have a translate report button now on the report card, where I can choose my report ID and my language code and hit OK. And that gives me a full list of every table caption, table and field caption that I use in the report. So you can see that the report caption itself is order, payment terms is betalingscondities. And if we scroll down, you see that the sales line NO dot has been changed to number. And this is actually, everything is an object caption. This is a Dutch database. So I have object captions for everything apart from the number, which is an override in the FORNAV language, and the beschrijving. Which I'm going to change to beschrijving artikel. Let's change number to something else. Let's just change it to num dot. So now I have two changes. I have two changed lines in here. So hit import changed and close. If I now run my report. There we go. My report has run. It is now blue. I'm hoping the customer will be very happy about it. Number has been changed to num dot, and the description has been changed to beschrijving artikel. So this is perfect. All I need to do now is to get it approved and moved into production, which used to be a pretty big thing. It isn't anymore. I can simply go to my source control, and I can see that there have been some changes. I can see description has been changed from beschrijving to beschrijving artikel. The layout, FORNAV.json, has been changed. Now this is of course a little bit too much to just read and see the changes, but we'll have a look at how this looks inside the GitHub system. And I have number has been changed to num dot. All fine. So stage all changed order layout to blue. Hit commit, and let's push this into GitHub. There we go. It's only 3 changes, so that was pretty quick. Now we're going to have a look inside GitHub, but the first thing I'm going to do is start to pull from my production system, because it takes a while. In my GitHub, you can see that, look at that, somebody has changed the order layout to blue. There's been a change here from number to num dot, but there's more. If we drill down into this, we can find the red layout, FORNAV.json. Open last commit. There we go. You can actually see right here that the background color of some of these text boxes has been changed to aqua, which apparently is the official color. And you can see that the base64 layout has also been changed. Now the base64 layout is the layout that is going to be imported into the BC system, but this is unreadable for any normal human being, which is why we added the whole JSON stuff up here. So you can see exactly what has been changed, who has changed it, and you can ask this guy why he changed all of this stuff from red to aqua. There we go. My production system has pulled all of the changes. You can see the layout has been changed, the description has been changed, and the number has been changed. Now you can choose what you want to do with this. You could say, num instead of number. That's a bit weird. I don't want that. I don't want this in my production. And in that case, you can take this change and hit discard. You sure you want to discard all of this stuff? Yes, I do. Then I get a conflict because the local is different from remote, and I'm going to say use the local version. Now my change has been undone, and if you look on GitHub, you can actually see there's a new change in here, import from dev. And if we look at this, you can see that num dot has been changed back to number. The other changes I'm perfectly happy with. I'm going to stage those and say change order to blue. hit commit. And there we go. I now run my report. It is blue. Nummer is still nummer and beschrijving has been changed to beschrijving artikel. That is how we use source control inside FORNAV. And it's good to remember that we have now two types of source control. We have the source control that's always been there in the Visual Studio Code project for the custom reports, the AL files that you build. This has been added on top of that for all of the FORNAV setup that you need to do in your customer's database. It allows you to keep track of all of your changes to everything in not really real time, but it's close enough. So it allows you to quickly pull the state of your customer system to a development system, make changes and push them straight into production. With that, I'm pretty much done. So over to Michael for now.
Well, thanks, René. But before moving to Michael, we actually have a question I think we should take right away. Whether we are planning to support Bitbucket.
Yes, the second time somebody asked that, so I'm guessing
Okay.
it's going to make the cut. But we'll need to discuss this for the next release.
Yeah. So at least we have 2 votes for that now.
Yeah.
Thanks, René.
There's also, if I may add one more thing, the source control types is an extendable enum. So if you wanted to use some very exotic system or your own system or a highly modified something, then you can actually write your code. All you need to do is change the actual connection to the remote system. It isn't that much work, and all of the GitHub stuff, all of the source code stuff is open source, so you can just see what it looks like in our report back.
Thank you, René. So with that,
Welcome.
I'll hand over to you, Michael.
Okay, thanks, Jan. So next topic is FORNAV personalized content. The background here is that if we look at the what you output from BC, it more or less today looks like something you type on a typewriter in the 80s. So we decided to do something about it and add things like colors and pictures and also dynamic text inside your strings. What we have implemented is so far is that we're able to create email subject lines, bodies, and some messages that you can put into your reports, and also the capability to add attachments with personalized content. We also enabled you to filter on this, so you can select if these texts should be printed based on the language, the data range that you can put in, or a filter that you can set on the record that's the basis of the text. Then, of course, it needs to have all these new concepts that arrived since the 80s, where you can actually use images, tables, and some decent formatting in there, so everything is not in IEL font 11. So this is the start of this. We'll add more, a lot more, but let me show you what we have done so far. So if I go to my inbox, I'll show you one of the scenarios we support. So in this case, I got a mail from our marketing manager, Stephanie, who wants us to create a campaign on the invoices. As you can see down here, Stephanie left some placeholders that I need to put in our website in here and some contact information. So I can just go and grab this and put it on the clipboard. If I go into BC, we added a couple of new axes in here, and I'll select the text template and create a new one. Up in, I need to give it a name, and I'll leave the language blank to have this support all languages. I'll add a description, campaign, and I need to say this is for reports that uses the sales invoice header in here. I don't need to set the text type to figure out where I'm going to put this text. Suppose it's after the sales lines and PSR is before. So allows this to be a post. And down here I can put in a filter where I can put in filters on all the fields I have on the header. That could be the zip code where I put in a range of zip codes, but it can also be any field where I have amounts I want to filter on, or any custom field you might have added to this record. So enable you to sort of handpick which customers should actually get this message based on these different filters. Next thing I need to do is to go and edit the content. Now I'll paste the message I got from Stephanie. And the special thing about this editor is that it can actually paste in Office documents. So if you paste in something from Outlook or from Word or from Excel, you'd actually get a formatting that it looks exactly like the one you saw in the email in here. So this is over here. So I got my special offer in here. And now I need to focus on changing these placeholders. Any editor, we can put in these placeholders in here. And if I press this start curly bracket, I get a list of fields in here. And I want to have my home page. And then I filter down on this. So I'll just pick the first one. And the second one is the contact. Here, and I have all the things that has something to do with contact. I'll take the contact person. So the tables that are available here is the base table, which in this case is a seller invoice header, the company information, and then a special table we call contact, which has a number of properties in here. You have the username, you have work date, and so on. You can use to fill this out. Just need to remove the meeting organizer in here. If I close this, then I'm done. But I can also go and add related tables. So if I need more than these tables, I can add a customer who I can link to the to sell to customer. I can add the salesperson and so on. So using this, I from these placeholders that I just showed you, I can get to any record in the system and use any field on that based on this. But I will just leave this for now and move back to actually using this as I promised Stephanie. So if I go to the post invoices and just take one of them, I can go and say print and send and do a print of this, do a preview, and then since I did not put any filters in there, I'll get the this post message in here. So of course the idea behind this is to create something where you can make this thing to your customers, and if there's more of these texts that fits into the filter, they will all of them will be printed. There's also a detail in here that if there's not enough room here for it to be on the page, we have a very powerful HTML splitter that can actually split this in pieces so it will fit right into this, to the pages you already have on the invoice. So it's you can also have really long text in here that you can add to your documents. So this is for informational purpose, for marketing purpose, for anything you want to signal to the customers in here. And you can see it's very easy compared to having to go and modify the custom layout and make these changes. This is a very easy way of doing it. The second scenario I'm going to show is to create an email body. And again, email bodies are typically created by creating either a Word report or FORNAV report, and then BC will basically run this report and save it as HTML, and this will be used for the email body. Again, this is possible to use, but again, it's if you want different email bodies, it's a lot of work to create these and filter on them. So to add to this experience, we have added an email template functionality. In this case, I already created one. And again, it's the same concept. I have the number, I can fill out the language, the date range over here. In this case, we use the email scenario, which is a new concept in BC, where you can select what your intentions are, and then BC will tell you which tables are needed in here. After that, you can simply go and party on the email subject and the text in here. So I can say I want to edit this. You can see I get the email subject up here, and I can again use any table that I have in the database and fill from that. So in this case, this is the your invoice, and then the invoice number, and then the company name up here. Down here, we have added a property from the context record. This is a salutation that will give you the a greeting to the customer name, and then based on the setup of the salutation inside BC will show the text that's provided to us. Then down here you can see there's additional information about the confirmation, the salesperson down here, how to contact him, and the email, and so on. And I added some pictures that are built in here, and then the confirmation fields that you want on your email body in here. Once we are done with the text, you can go and add additional emails. So typically you want to add to a CC email address or BCC email address to have a copy of what's sent. And in some cases, you also want to change the source of the address to not be the default inside BC. Sometimes this is wrong. And if you want to use sell to, bill to, or ship to instead, you can set it up here. But basically, it works just like the normal text template, just for email bodies, and the filters in here are also set up. If you have more than one email body, you will have a selection of which one you want to use when you run the report, and it will of course use the email body you choose for this. But typically you would just have one that is within the filter. So if I go back to sales invoices up here, instead I go and say send by email. It'll look up my email body, and in here you can see this is the standard BC email body in here. I have the subject up here that's rendered with the invoice number and the company name, and down here I have the text you just saw with the fields merged in from the database. So I have my Cronus up here, and I have the salesperson, his phone number, and the email, and so on. And then of course all the companies in down here. This case, these bases I've created are really simple, but you can basically have very long ones, and have a lot of detailed information that you get from a database, which helps personalizing this to look something that's not automatically generated. I'm not going to show you the last scenario we support out of the box now, but that's creating attachments as well that you can use to also create customized text that will merge in the fields from the database, and then they'll basically be attached when you send out an email to your customers. That's basically it. And I also should remember that this is of course part of the standard FORNAV license. So if your customers already have bought a FORNAV license, this will be just free for them. For new customers, this will be included, of course, in all the functionality they get. So there's no extra fee for using this for a FORNAV user. Okay, that's it, Jan.
Thank you, Michael. And so far, no questions for you. So you probably did a good job. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Jennifer to give us an update on e-invoicing and the pool.
You need to share my screen.
Yeah. There we go. Nope, that's not you, sorry. Here we go.
Ah, that's good. Perfect. Thank you, Jan. So I'm going to give you a short update about PEPAL today. So out of the box, Microsoft supports the creation of invoices for PEPAL as standard, but the transport itself is not included. This means you can generate invoices, but you need an additional solution to automatically exchange e-documents directly from Business Central. One of the easiest and most secure ways to exchange e-invoices in compliance with all legal requirements is the fully automated transmission via the PEPAL network. PEPAL is the leading network that fully supports true machine-to-machine communication, and it is highly efficient for sending large volumes of documents across borders. It is widely accepted and often mandatory by public authorities. A great thing about PEPAL is that you can use it out of the box and you don't need any mapping because it has a very clear standardized structure. With the release of Business Central 27, Microsoft introduced support for multiple e-document connectors. These connectors are provided by different ISVs via APIs, and FORNAV is one of them. The FORNAV e-document connector is included in Business Central starting from version 27.1. But PEPAL Plus has been working since Business Central 25 and of course is available on App Source. So working with PEPAL is not new to us. But what is PEPAL Plus? With FORNAV PEPAL Plus, you can use the PEPAL network to automatically send and receive all invoices directly from Business Central. The unique advantage here is that FORNAV is a registered PEPAL access point. This takes a huge burden off your shoulders because you don't have to find and contract a separate PEPAL access provider. That means that you don't have to pay a middleman, and we take care of the entire process for you. Our solution covers all essential e-invoicing requirements. The automated transport of e-invoices, both sending and receiving, automated validation to prevent compliance errors, the automated lookup of business partners in the PEPAL directory. That means it shows you which of your customers and vendors use PEPAL. And of course, a convenient preview of your invoices. You see, what you get from us is a simple, legally compliant and fully integrated solution for the automated exchange of e-documents in Business Central. So, before I hand over to Jan again, I would also like to mention that we not only have PEPAL, we also support the creation and import of Zugpferd, FaktorX, and X-Rechnung. And one last thing, Michael already mentioned it, but I say it again. Everything we showed today, also e-invoicing and the report pack and direct print, file service, and so on, everything is included in our all-in-one license. So you don't need different products for all these topics, just FORNAV. So that's it for me. That was quick, but that's it. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you.
Yeah, and you can take over. Thank you.
So if you want to learn more about this, I'd like to give you a very quick tour on our new website. I'm not going to go through everything, don't worry, but this one called resources, there's a lot of great things to learn more about FORNAV in general, and of course 8.1 in particular. We now offer web training both in English and in German, and we also have our e-learning, including our certification tests. We of course have our documentation on direct print and file service. We have our knowledge base, and we have our coffee break videos, which are these 10-15 minute long videos on a specific topic. Some of the things, or one of the things we've done on the new website is we have actually grouped these into different topics. So it should be a little easier to find your way around. And we still have one up here chronologically with the newest ones. And of course, this all goes to our YouTube channel, where you have all the different videos, including the coffee breaks. So a lot of new things has happened with 8.1, and we showed you some of the things in this webinar. I don't think so far there are any questions. Michael, do you see any questions?
That's it, yeah.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, we like to thank you for listening today. And as mentioned, this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel, so feel free to watch it again or share it with your colleagues. Thank you so much for joining today, and have a good rest of the day.